everybody. We are having a great conversation today, and we're going to be talking about e-commerce, specifically about how can an accounting firm like ours help you whenever you're using e-commerce. And so we have some preferred channels that we use for our clients being hosted on, and the reason is it's very robust if you're in one of these preferred platforms, because not every sales channel or e-commerce platform is the same. We've found there's a lot of differences out there. So my name is Liz Scott, and I'm the CEO of Accounting Lifeline. And what we do is we support businesses and help them with their dreams to be able to move forward with that, with growth and with profitability. And so we sometimes bring in experts in different areas to be able to share with you what are some of the best ways and methods to be able to perform the functions of your business. So I'm happy to say that we have our special guest here, who is Veronica. And Veronica and I have been working together for several years, back and forth. And that sales channel that she really has became the powerhouse in the industry is Shopify. So we are thankful to have you here, Veronica. Do you want to share some more about you and your Shopify life?
Absolutely. I am the Shopify Queen because I really do know a lot about it. And so I've been with Shopify probably now for, I would say, 7 to 8 years. And by the way, I live on a boat, so it's a very small space, and we will have people moving around like Mahabiroi. So anyway,
we love that you're real like that. I mean, like living the dream on the houseboat. I mean, I'm not going to say that's a bad life.
Okay, so one correction, it is actually a yacht, and it's got 2 big engines, so no houseboat. But so Shopify has been, so I came from another shopping platform where I started out and discovered Shopify because at that stage, I would say 7-8 years ago, was the only platform that would do international stores. And obviously then everybody else caught up with it, all the other shopping platforms. But what I liked about Shopify is how easy it was to actually run your business from the platform and what it all entails. You have, and again, a lot of the shopping platforms have the same capabilities, right? They have a blog, they have a website. You don't need a separate website to Shopify. And for instance, they have the checkout and all that. So a lot of it is oranges to oranges, but Shopify is amazing.
That's okay. So oranges to oranges in some categories, and then also there's a huge difference whenever it comes to our experience as an accounting firm working with different platforms, is that there are some platforms out there that are very clunky. And so it's hard to update, your quantity on hand. It's not as supportive of a lot of our businesses that we support are both B2B and B2C. Yes. And so if you've got these two different things happening, which you want, I mean, we have those products and we want to deliver those to our different types of clients. Yes. But not every platform makes that easy. And so that's one of the reasons that we actually really enjoy working with Shopify, is it does make that.
Okay. So what I was going to say is, and then you have pineapples, right? And I'm actually
you skipped apples.
I know, I skipped apples. No, this is not pineapples. I mean, Shopify make it so easy. I have transitioned stores from Squarespace, from Wix, from really beginner. Okay, if you were starting out in e-commerce and you just want to test it out, that's where probably where you should do it, because it's easy for you to do. You do not need a backup, or you can do a lot of the stuff yourself. Maybe not, because it depends on how easy you are in adding your website and all the capabilities. Shopify is if you're serious about e-commerce and getting your business online, you should be on Shopify. And one of the biggest reasons is, for instance, and this is a completely new aspect, is Google has changed the rules of being online. Shopify have turned around and made sure that everybody is in compliance with Google. And it's a huge issue, because if you are not compliant with Google, you're not going to show up.
Right.
And they work very closely with their theme editors, like you have WordPress and you have the themes, the same thing with Shopify, although they are free themes, obviously, but you have more capabilities with the paid themes. But they work very closely with us, the Shopify partners, to make sure that we know what's coming up and work with them to make it the best experience that somebody has online. And here's the thing, is large companies, Oprah is on Shopify, Staples is on Shopify, right? Netflix has just opened a store on Shopify. So these guys are not, right?
Yeah.
These guys are not playing. I mean, they are going to be, they know they're going to have a lot of customers and a lot of visitors. And one thing I've realized is that Shopify, I would say 99%, you can't guarantee 100%, 99% is up. When we were with 3D Cart, there were so many times when I had these panicky calls or emails from customers going, oh, my store's down, or I'm paying $15 extra for every gigabyte I'm using, or what's happening, my store's down again, and it's down the whole day. So you lose out on stuff the whole day. Shopify has not everybody's on the same system. They have different system, different service. This is getting really technical. But so one customer can be down, everybody else is still up. But I've seen them turn this around within half an hour, that they have the customer back up again.
Well, so, where I hear in that is the numbers. So
yes.
To me, we're the financial guardians. And so we want to make sure that those sales are happening.
Yes.
And the easier it is for people to be able to purchase, which that's one of the reasons why we recommend Shopify, is it's very easy, customer friendly. But then also, like you said, because they have, they really have became the leading hoster of these web stores. So being able to make sure that you've got the best of the best means that even if you're tiny, so a lot of these micro businesses think, well, where should I go? Well, that doesn't mean that you should start on one of these odd platforms, because you are going to have growth. Yes. And if you're on one of these small platforms, even though you think it's smaller, it's actually going to end up costing you more money in the long run. And Shopify starts small with you. So yes. those bigger stores that you were talking about, the Oprahs and the Staples, they of course are on this larger platform because they yes. should be. But yes. our smaller businesses, or maybe those micro businesses, they also are still a good fit for Shopify because it is affordable and it does have everything packaged. So my suggestion would be, even with those micro businesses starting off small, that you want something that has everything included. So, back in the day, or even on some of these different platforms, you would think the shopping cart was included in those platforms. Sometimes that's a plugin. That plugin can break because they have updates. So you got to make sure that you're compliant, like you were talking about. The other thing is sales tax. Sales tax, Shopify is nailed.
Huge.
There's a lot of platforms out there that's a plugin that sometimes works. And then, in our world, because we're making sure that financially the business is sound, that is a key component to make sure that we are able to calculate sales tax, because if you're not doing that correctly, that can actually come back and cost you big time later.
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't recommend starting in one of these little websites that you're building on a Wix platform or something.
I know, right? But it does happen. I've got lots of baby companies that literally have started on Shopify and have grown on Shopify and have grown with Shopify, because I mean, obviously I've been around quite a while, and the ease of my philosophy is an owner of a business has to know how to run his business, because the help, like me or whoever else, something can happen. I might decide to take my boat and go cruising, which I am, by the way, but still.
Good for
But
you.
Right. So
that's living the life.
Yeah, right. I might, something can happen to me. So you literally, and it's like any employee, they on their time. Their life happens, life changes, and they go away. So as a business owner, you literally have to know how to run your business. Shopify makes it so easy to add products and they have it all in one window. You don't have to move, because I've worked on, for instance, on BigCommerce is one of the other big ones, right? You've got to move from one window to the next to that. It is so confusing that you need help, right?
Absolutely.
So adding these things is a doddle. I mean, it is so easy, and you have, which I have not seen, unless you have a plugin, as you say, you can literally make sure that your product, if it comes from overseas, you can get that HS code or H something code in that says, hey, this is an international package, and your shipping will reflect it.
That's nice. Okay, so then in my world, I'm hearing, that's part of the expenses. And
Yes.
So, whenever we're thinking about the bottom line, that's exactly where we need to be able to understand all of those details. So you just mentioned a detail that would really matter to the business, because they need to be able to understand how they're doing. And part of that performance is all of the costs.
Yes.
So
yes.
We want to capture all of those costs. And like you said, not every platform makes that easy to capture.
No.
And, whenever we're thinking about that, the other piece of it is being able to track the inventory. So there's some people who are going to want to put all of their inventory quantities inside of Shopify. There's other people out there in our experience that maybe do drop ship. So it's less important to have that inventory on hand, but knowing Shopify, it can handle both scenarios.
Oh, absolutely. So I sell services, right? I sell my services in Shopify. I sell my books in Shopify. I actually have a mug that I was testing out, random mug, right? So you can literally sell anything, and a combination of the two in Shopify. And you were saying about the costs and inventory. So you can literally have, I have a client that has one of each. There's one sculpture, and this is it. There's handmade. So if that sculpture is sold, it comes off the inventory, and then it doesn't get sold. It's immediately sold out button on your store. And so you can control what is in what you have, and you can also control what is coming in. And here is one other thing. So if you have, I have another client that does pipes and clamps and all sorts of things. We actually sell clamps to India, of all places. Don't ask. I have no idea why that happened. But they have, I think they have six vendors. So you can actually put in a location for each product that comes from somewhere else. So the shipping gets properly calculated in real time. So even on the small, it didn't used to be like this, but even if you come in on the entry plan on Shopify, you have real time shipping. And so when you literally those, and you can say, hey, if the prices get updated, you can add those prices, you can update the real-time prices. And I mean, it is, I've been involved in the shipping part as well, because one of my clients got stuck in Zimbabwe. They flew home and they can't come back because of COVID. And I happen to live literally around the corner from the warehouse. So I'm literally packaging their sculptures and sending it off. So I've never been this involved in anybody's business, right? So but the ease of and you were talking about costs, right? So you can buy your shipping labels from Shopify. So it comes off at the end of the month, so you don't immediately pay for it. So it goes onto your bill, which is sometimes pretty handy for a small business, right?
Right.
And then they have really, really good prices because they're such a huge company, right? So they get those preferred prices. I literally print out my label, email it to UPS. The lady there prints it out, and my prices were a third of what you would get if you walked into the store.
Well, that's huge. So, yes. That partnership, of course, because they're a big, mover in this space, they have set it up so that way it's more affordable. And I would even say the Shopify payment. So there's a lot of other platforms out there that require you to have Stripe or require you to have authorized.net or all of these different things that you can have. You can have that inside of Shopify too, but they also have their own payment platform. And that payment platform means that you're going to always know exactly what your fees are. You're going to always know whenever you're going to get that batch of money. And so, in our world, one of the other things that we do is we have a trick for being able to say, how do we get all of that data, that sales data and that expense data, all of those fees, all of the variables inside of QuickBooks, because you need to be able to understand your numbers. And so we help to make sure that the numbers are inside of QuickBooks. So whenever we have somebody who's using Shopify, knowing that that's a really solid platform, we're able to have some tricks where we get the data inside, and then you're able to look at, how am I doing? What's my profitability? Maybe what's my different SKUs? How am I doing in each of these different SKUs or groups of SKUs to be able to see what's my best performer? And whenever you're thinking about those costs, what are my costs? What are my overheads, even payroll? So all of that data can come in, and then we have conversations about it, because that's how you grow your business. Not just doing more of something. The more of does not do anything except for mean that you're busier.
I always say, what's in your pocket?
Yeah.
Because you can tell me you make $3, $5, $10 million. I want to know how much money is in your pocket at the end of the day, right? Yep. Because I've had a $4 million company. Believe me, that little bit in my pocket wasn't a lot, right? So, so another thing about Shopify is the analytics that they've added to it. So you know that, right? So you can literally have, what your sales are, what your I'm just opening it up so I can tell you exactly. You know what your sales are. On a dashboard, you have reporting. I mean, what's coming in, where is it coming from, and how are you doing this month, right? Yep. So average order value, because people don't understand, you have to literally, if you want to, I'm actually writing my next book, and it's all about, actually 2 books, but it's all about the bottom line, so you got to look at your customers that you can have them buy a product again. So what's the lifetime value of your customer? That was hugely complicated. I mean, I can do math and everything, but holy cow, it was. But you got to really literally know what is your average order value. So you don't even have to calculate that. And then you have and then you also know, where is your traffic coming from? And it's not always, okay, they're coming from from Facebook, or they're coming from Instagram. Is where have they seen your store? Right. And what was that last click? And here they are. So you also know whether your advertising is working.
So that's really key also, because whenever we're thinking about how is a business doing and how are they performing, part of it is, how much money are they spending on marketing? Well, Shopify has some marketing built directly into it, which is fantastic. Yes. And then also, like you said, being able to see who your best customers are. So, we think of those as being the drivers of the business. So what is driving that business to profitability? And so we don't need all of that detail inside of QuickBooks. QuickBooks is your accounting solution. That is what we support. We want you to go over into your sales system, and we want you to see, your customers, and, you know, talking about doing repeat business. Understanding who your best customers are is not only who is a repeat customer, because then you know that you can do some promotions with those repeat businesses, but then also being able to say, you know, did they pay promptly? Because that's also part of that equation of who are your best customers. And then whenever we're thinking about those B2B sales, a lot of those are repeats.
Yes.
And so you want to make sure that you give some type of incentive or tracking to make sure that you're staying connected to those businesses that are tapped into what it is that you're selling, and they want more of it.
Yeah. And then talking about where your customers are coming from in Shopify, you have your Facebook and your Instagram, you have your Facebook store, and you have your Instagram hasn't got a store yet, but you can tag your products in Shopify. You can tag on Instagram, and then obviously you have Google. You've got Walmart Marketplace, which is not the easiest one to get into. You have obviously eBay. Now they actually have an Etsy app as well, and you know, Etsy is like, it's just us. They're like Amazon, right? And Amazon, you can connect your store to Amazon, literally, that your products feed from Shopify into Amazon.
Wow, I didn't know about that. That's really, that's newer.
Well, no, that's always been there, but a lot of people don't use it because they first sell on Amazon, and then they sort of do Shopify as a side. Yeah,
that's
and
great
so
to know.
I know, right? I know. But Amazon, they keep their customers, baby. All you do is get this long number of letters of email. You know where to ship it to, but those customers aren't yours unless you maybe send them a mailer. I was thinking about that the other day. How am I going to get to these customers? Is, you know, do the old-fashioned mailer, you know. But and then so you have the apps that you can add, but Instagram, Facebook, instantly you can get your pixel instantly. You actually load your products onto Facebook automatically. The same with Amazon. There are a couple of things you have to do, obviously, and then they tell you whether your products are approved or not. I've got a little customer who's doing extremely well. She's nearing the $1 million club, and all through COVID, she's done so good. But she doesn't have descriptions because her stuff go out, you know. So she has top designers for baby clothes, for kids clothes, and people literally look for just the title and they buy. And yes, so she's got no description. So a lot of these sales channels, I call them sales channels. Right. A lot of these sales channels do not. They tell you you've got to have a description, and also when you have, the way I explain is, people have a store on Facebook or Amazon, is they can close down your store in a blink of an eye, and you have nothing. And talking to Amazon, excuse me, or talking to Facebook, you're never going to be talking to them because you can't get hold of anybody, right? So you got to have your own business on a platform that you can grow with, so that your sandbox can get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Because if you're only selling on Amazon, or if you're only selling on Facebook in the Facebook store or the Amazon store, Amazon seller, you don't have any control. New client got put into Amazon jail, right? Because they had a wrong word.
Well, and so, you know, in our world, being able to understand where their sales are coming from is really important. So we know the Amazon trick. We do that. I didn't realize that Etsy was also a plugin that you can put inside of Shopify. So, you know, whenever we're looking at, you know, our clients that sell on different sales channels, so same thing. And whenever we're looking at our different clients, the Shopify sales, we can pull out all of those fees and see how well are you actually doing. Amazon is a lot harder. So we know that trick too, to be able to pull out all of the fees so you can see what are you spending on marketing. And part of the reason that there's a difference there is, you Amazon is a marketplace. And so you are
Yes.
part of a market. You are one of the things that is being marketed in this place. But a web store like Shopify is yours. And so
Yes.
you have ownership of that. And so being able to have the breakdown of fees, again, whenever we pull that data out of those various places, those different sales channels, you want to see where are you most profitable, because just because it's got a big name attached to it, like Amazon, doesn't mean that that's actually where you're going to be the most profitable. You can do both,
Yes.
but then also make sure that you're promoting the place that you're going to be able to collect the most of your money.
Yeah.
So that's a big
Again,
one.
it's what ends up in your pocket.
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, and so if you have like Squarespace or Wix or one of these very small platforms that you have your business on, then you have to have an account for this one, and you have to have an account for this, and you have 5 or 6 dashboards, which I have seen a big company with making $3 million, and they've got 6 dashboards, and things fall through the cracks because you literally have to log in to each and every one of these to get your orders, right? So when you have everything on one platform and it feeds it all through, then okay, so your orders are all coming in on one platform. You deal with it on one platform, right?
Yep. And the less complexity that there is, the more that you can sleep at night, because you're able to say, I've got control of it. Whenever it is all over the place, it's like a big old ball of yarn that's just been twisted and turned in all different ways. And so it's really hard to be able to understand the different threads, what's happening. And so that is one of the reasons that we really do like Shopify, is that you can pull out those different threads. You can say, this is my B2B sales, so I'm selling directly to those other businesses, or my B2C sales, so I'm selling directly to my retail, so I'm selling directly to customers. And so there's actually an identifier code that comes across, and we can pull that into QuickBooks, and we can sort that out. So you can see, who are you doing your best business with? Is it really the B2B or the B2C? And each time that you have more pieces of information, you're able to actually control the next step in your business. So more information means that you can actually control what's happening in your business. Because the money part is fun.
I know, right? But and so so when you get to the next level, when you have an event and you have a booth or whatever, you can do POS, which is point of sale system. You can have point of sale literally on your phone or on an iPad, and so you can sell anywhere you want to. And then also, I mean, for $80, you can have a point of sale in a retail store, right? And so,
which you and I see that, because there's some people who they still have that brick and mortar location, but then they also have realized that whether it's COVID that got them there, or whether it's just they're ready to go be where their peers are at and they see them doing well online, they can have both things happening. And so same thing that comes through with the bookkeeping, we can pull out that data, so we can say, here's your online piece and here's your brick and mortar. Or like you said, going over to not just conferences, but also being able to go to, there's more of the pop-up. And then, there's like the state fair, or those kinds of places. They'll have events. And so you want to go sell your stuff one time at that one event, you can take your point of sale with you. So you can actually sell on the same platform using all of the things that you're familiar with, your payment solutions, your being able to tap into your inventory. All of that is there with you in hand wherever you are.
So what I've seen is when somebody has Shopify or a shopping platform, and then they have a point of sale and they have an app in between, and we know those apps are really expensive, and there's always a breakdown. Talking specifically about the boutique, I mean, people literally walk around with a product in their hand, and and then somebody buys it. So you got to be very aware of, okay, she's walking with that, maybe I should take it offline, or have specific products just for offline and just for online, so you can separate the two. And so you don't have that, oops, sorry, you can't have this product to your online customers, which really sends them to somebody else. And but when you have a different system, as you said, that breakdown and that is makes it so much more difficult. So what I found with it is a little bit of a learning curve, but what I found is when they marry those two, that inventory is just flowing. I mean, they know what they have, what's going out, what's coming in. It is brilliant.
I want to say that you are one of those people who has been with Shopify for, I won't say from the beginning, but really you've been on that journey with them as they've grown. And so you have literally wrote the book on it. And so I want to make sure that we get your book mentioned here, because, a lot of people are trying to do this and they don't know where to go and they don't know how. So will you talk just a little bit about your book?
Yes. So, and I started with some videos because I had the same questions coming back with over and over and over again. And then I decided, well, it's a good idea. Maybe I should write my book. And it's literally a step for step. Step 1, click on this button. Step 2, save it, And it's because a lot of those things we forget because we literally don't know what we're doing. Because there's so many, in any business, there's so many moving parts that you have to add. There's a big noise in the background. Can you hear it?
Yeah, but you're on the water. So, life is happening back there.
It always happens, the guy comes by with a machine that he's trying out, So.
Well, I want to tell you, thank you so much for your time. And, it's really best whenever we see these businesses who do both. They have a really strong sales platform and they're doing, the things right to be able to promote those sales. And then also the other piece of it is that accounting piece. So when we have those two pieces married and they're supporting each other, that is where we see our clients do our best, is they can really understand what's happening. So I'm thankful to be able to have partnered with you throughout the years. I'm grateful that you're here with us today. And so I just keep on yachting away.
Well, I'm glad I've got you in my pocket, because if I have a client who needs you, I'm just going, oh, come and help me, because my whole thing is you've got to know your numbers, every single day you've got to know your numbers. Where is it coming from? What's it doing? If you don't know your numbers, you have a brochure and you're not making business. You're playing around, right? So you got to know your numbers. Yeah,
I agree. And so where you come in is being able to help those Shopify clients, being able to, if they're a startup, being able to get them going. And then also, those businesses that are, we talk about them in being in a pain point. So they're in a pain point because they're at that next step and they're not really sure how to move forward. So you come in and you help them with that path forward in Shopify. What is the next things that they need to be paying attention to? So that is, those are all areas that you're very strong in. And so, I'd recommend that if somebody's getting started or in that pain point where they're, what do I do next, that they reach out to you.
And also it's very, very easy to move from one platform to Shopify. It literally is a download and an upload. And
I love hearing you say that.
It's some manipulation, but it is that easy. I've moved 65,000 products across, and we've had like maybe 1,000 that we go, well, we can manipulate a little bit and boom, it's up, and it also actually grabs the image and puts it onto Shopify.
Which is, whoa. A lot of people don't know that, but it's like, yes, you can actually move platforms and it's not that painful. So, there's a lot of people that feel trapped. And years ago, I had somebody who was on this really strange, unsupported any longer platform, and they migrated over to Shopify. And boy, their business has really taken off because they can see all the different pieces. It's very clear because Shopify is continuing to upgrade its system whenever they see a need, where some of these other platforms, they're just either getting started or they've been around so long that they're like, they're phasing out. So, I'm thankful that you were here. And then, I would say to people who then want to get that data into QuickBooks, that's where you would reach out to us to be able to understand those numbers and how to do that part. That's where we shine. So, thank you for being with us today. And we are happy that you were able to join us via your yacht. And we will be chatting soon, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's been really, really nice being here. Thank
Uh,
you.
I appreciate that. And so I'll say bye, everyone.